All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Virginia Nussey, and you have reached the webinar 9-point guide to chat blasting like a master blaster. And this is Harley, and he's a bit of an inspiration for the next hour or so presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Presentation mode activated. So, like I said, this is the 9-point guide to chat blasting like a master blaster. These are battle-tested weapons of getting maximum engagement on the Facebook Messenger channel. And I should probably mention that this is kind of take 2 of this session, or it was a session for the MobileMonkey Facebook Messenger and Chatbot Marketing Summit that happened last week. There were some technical difficulties, which allowed me the opportunity to come again with this presentation, and I'm very, very excited for everybody who's joined and interested in learning more about the secrets to getting maximum engagement on this brand new channel that we've discovered along with Larry Kim and others at MobileMonkey and millions of customers. So here's the agenda today. It's a 9-point guide, so there's a 9-point agenda. There will be a live blast where we can kind of experience, like in real time, the experience of getting a chat blast and a drip campaign in MobileMonkey. And then we're also going to talk about subscription messaging, what it is, what the different types of messaging types are, and how to get subscription messaging approval. There's going to be some tactics on signing up subscribers. We'll also get into advanced segmentation moves a little bit for your audience, creating different groups of people from your contacts. The Art of Messenger Handbook is, what does Facebook say about chat blasting? Like, what are their rules and documentations and guidelines? I've seen a lot of questions around that. Then we'll get into the engagement hacks, like exactly what we do to get the best of class open rates and response rates from our blasts. We'll also talk about how you can personalize your chat blasts, because the whole theme of this presentation is that you're wielding a very powerful weapon, and would like to say, you know, in war, things aren't personal, but in chat blasting and in Facebook Messenger marketing, it's very personal. And that's one of the most amazing things about this technology. I will share with you the biggest blunders that I've made in my time doing chat blasts and that I've seen others do, and so that everybody can learn from those mistakes. With Track Attack, we'll take a look at statistics and data that are available so that you can benchmark your campaigns and know it's working. And then, of course, there might just be a bonus move at the end that gives a little extra firepower. So, okay, first up, what's going on with this live blast? I need volunteers for this to work. So if you go to this bit.ly URL, it's going to send you to Messenger, and you're going to sign up for the live blast, which we will end up doing at the end of this session. But before we get there, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I live in Southern California. This is my daughter and me on the beach. That happens pretty frequently, which is really nice. And I also like to write. So before I started at MobileMonkey this year, I was at an SEO agency. And if you're familiar with the SEO world at all, then you might recognize some of those characters on the left there who yeah, that was when I was in my live blogging days. And I've gotten the opportunity and honor to write for a number of amazing brands, big and small, across industries. And I've also been on the publisher side as well, as that is where I studied journalism. And another random fact, I kind of collect wild animals, not wild so much as just crazy. And so here's our little zoo. We've got a bearded dragon. That's my tortoise. She's a big girl there, but really the big animal on campus is Harley, who you got a chance to meet, and cats, um, they're going to make a very dominant presence here in this presentation. I kind of went old school. If you know Larry Kim, the founder of MobileMonkey, then you probably are familiar with his obsession with unicorns. And unicorns are amazing and glorious, and I have no problem with unicorns, but I'm going to give it to the OGs of the internet, cats. And so we'll just take a look at how they kind of lead us through all the points of chat blasting. Oh, here's another random fact. I have a funky habit of my family all getting dressed up in a group costume for Halloween. So here are some of our greatest hits. And this year we're thinking about going as superheroes. And if we do, I might just go as my alter ego, Bot Girl, which is a title that was lovingly given to me by Larry. And why? Because as the content marketing director at MobileMonkey, I am actually the person behind all of those blasts that you get. And so yes, even if it says, Larry from Larry, like I'm sending those. So there's the big reveal. I've probably sent, millions of messages by this point, and since the technology is very new, that probably makes me like a world-leading authority on chat blasting. And that's why I'm excited to share everything that I've learned in my time doing this with you, because it's super, it really is the most exciting marketing platform right now. And I will show you how, with some actual blasts that we're doing, the actual responses that we're getting. And of course, along the way, because technology is new, there's going to be some mistakes as well. And also we'll discuss what Facebook's guidelines say. So that's really important. Okay, here's another reminder that in order to experience the blast that we're going to do together, we're going to build it all. We're going to put all of these best practices in place as we use MobileMonkey to create our chat blast. You just got to sign up there at that URL. And what we'll do is we'll create the opt-in. Well, this is the opt-in. We'll create the audience of everybody who's opted in. We will personalize the messaging, and we'll make sure to avoid any of those faux pas that Facebook says that we're not supposed to do. So with that, the next thing to talk about is subscription messaging. But before we talk about subscription messaging, we have to back up a second and talk about what the different messaging types are. So Facebook has Messenger has three messaging types. One is standard messaging, and I'll explain some of that. Subscription messaging is the second, and sponsored messaging is the third. Standard messaging. This is basically summed up by what we call the 24+1 policy. There's a 24-hour window for messaging. After the first time somebody sends a message to your page and you respond with a bot, and in that 24-hour window, you can send any message. It can be of any type as well. It can be promotional or it can be non-promotional. And this distinguishment, or this distinguishing between those two, is important because that's basically where all of the rules of Facebook's messaging types come in. So once that 24-hour period is over, then you can send that +1, which is one promotional message for free. Hopefully that's all clear, but basically there's 24 hours after somebody messages you from the first time that you can send any message, and then after that 24 hours is over, you can send one additional promotional message. That's the standard messaging. Subscription messaging is something that we highly recommend that all Facebook Messenger marketers apply for, and it enables businesses to do chat blasting in an unlimited way. I put that in quotes because there are restrictions based on purpose categories, which is basically it has to be non-promotional. And this is super important when if you take anything away from this presentation, I want you to apply for subscription messaging. Previously, MobileMonkey was able to loan its subscription messaging status to all customers, and now it has to be on a page basis. And the big change happens on December 31st. So apply for subscription messaging before December 31st. After that, MobileMonkey's subscription messaging status will no longer be able to be loaned to customers. And okay, so as we go through this kind of like presentation, every time you see this little rocket and what the blast, that means that I'm sharing with you real campaign data, what we sent, who we sent it to, our open rate and our response rate, and so that we can see what the results were. Okay, so what the blast? This was a update about a blog post on subscription messaging and how to apply. We sent it to MobileMonkey subscribers, so that was the audience, and the open rate was pretty strong at 62.9%. That's pretty strong if you compare it to what was probably 25% in email. And the response rate is where we really see that fire. 18.1% people that received this message clicked through. So what did we do right here? The fact that this content is about a news update is really, you can't beat that. Like it has a deadline. It's critical news that you need to know. And so it was subscribers who got this, people who are interested in knowing more about Messenger and what, with like the updates and what's happening and all that. So that's kind of the formula that was the success for this blast. How to apply for subscription messaging. It's 2 pretty easy steps. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. You go to your page, you go to settings, you go to Messenger platform, and then you hit request for subscription messaging. And there are 3 categories that you can apply for, but the vast majority of us are going to be under the news category. Basically productivity or personal tracking. You're going to be like an app that's hooked up to a phone and sends notifications like a bill is coming up or your heart rate is this or that. So that's what's going on there. And everybody else are going to be news. And so you're going to basically then give examples of the kinds of chat blasts that you'd be sending for your business. And, think about the kinds of words that you use in those examples, where something like alert or breaking or new study or new research is a really hot signal for something that is like news oriented in your industry. And just a reminder, when you're applying for subscription messaging, you're agreeing not to send promotional messages under the non-promotional blast purpose. And it's important that you don't do this because that's outside of Facebook's rules, and we've seen what it looks like when you get a warning and basically it's to be avoided. The way that Facebook checks, we believe, is with machine learning. So if you're sending too much promotional stuff within the non-promotional categorizing, then you're going to get reviewed. And just to know, like, if you aren't approved for subscription messaging, then you do always have the option to send sponsored messages, which means that you're going to be paying for every message you send. And I get the question, like, my application was not approved. Usually we see approval within maybe 2 or 3 times. So if if you weren't approved the first time, don't worry too much about it. Try again, and just, I don't think there's a limit on that actually, but think about in terms of what in your industry, people who want to keep up on that would want to know, and use those examples. It's really the key is in the examples that you give. When you send a chat blast, we segment you. We allow you to say, like, it's going to be a promotional or non-promotional message that I'm sending. So this is kind of what that looks like. And that's how we keep your blasts, or MobileMonkey is able to segment to what kind of population of your contacts get that message. I hope that kind of covered the differences between promotional messaging, non-promotional messaging, but there's going to be more on that too. So next up is the fundamentals of signing up subscribers. Assume that you get approved for subscription messaging. That means now you get to sign up subscribers. So there's some tips for getting that opt-in. How to build an opt-in page. This is on the right, an example of what MobileMonkey's opt-in page in chat looks like. You use the quick question widget to ask one question. You can give multiple responses, yes or no, or you can just do the one, yes, sign me up. I use this opportunity to say, to give like a funny little GIF for people that said no thanks. To say like, all right, we'll just keep this over here, but come back anytime. And it's like a monkey scurrying away with bananas or something like that. So the thing about the quick question widget that's really awesome is that it saves an attribute automatically. It's part of the creation process. It saves an attribute to that contact's profile, which you can use to create an audience. And then you create an audience of everybody that said, yes, sign me up. And then when you send your chat blasts campaigns, you send it to that audience. So that is how you create the opt-in process. Oh, here we are with another What the Blast. In this example, we got pretty great. I would say this is a stellar campaign here with an open rate of 73% and a response rate of 16%. So what did we do right? Well, for one thing, it went to an audience of MobileMonkey users. So people who are actually using the platform and want to know how to create that opt-in page so they can send subscription messaging. So matching your, content and message to your audience is of course great. And Facebook does recommend that you send to audience segments where the messaging is going to be super relevant. And get the secret is also the call to action, the button there, as you can see, which is very exclusive and enticing. And we'll talk about more about like what good CTAs are in your buttons in the engagement hacks section. And to note, opting out, how does it work? If you're wondering, MobileMonkey handles all of that. So basically, if somebody types stop or unsubscribe, it's already programmed into the platform that they'll get this menu and they'll get to choose, yes, they want to unsubscribe or no, they want to stay subscribed. What you have to do is let people know in your chat blasts that they have the power to unsubscribe, because if people are getting the messaging but they're not sure how to unsubscribe, then you can get complaints. So to that point, here's another What the Blast, and the open rate was like phenomenal, but the response rate was totally in the garbage. So what's the disconnect here? I mean, usually if you get a response rate or an open rate that's stellar, then you can assume, at least a somewhat even distribution there with your click-throughs. But this is like a huge difference. And the problem, well, there's actually a few problems here. Number one is that I sent the message, this was early days, I sent the message as like single lines of text all in their own like message. So like it basically blew up people's phones. They're like getting like 7 pings like for one message, for one blog post. Yeah, don't do that. The other problem was that there wasn't any indication for how somebody can unsubscribe. There wasn't an explicit type stop to unsubscribe in the content at all. And true story, we got messages from Facebook after that blast that there had been an abundance of complaints, and so we kind of got in hot water from that one, and we try to remember to include that unsubscribe forever after. All right, next up, we're going to talk about some pro moves for your audience segmentation and how to filter your contacts to get exactly the audience that you want for the message that you're sending. Audiences, just to define a few things, in Messenger are like lists in your email marketing. You add filters to your contacts, basically, and the filters narrow down your contacts with a number of different attributes that you have available to you, including system attributes that are very, very helpful, like the source that they came in your bot from. So you'll know, did somebody come in from a checkbox or from a my website chat widget or from this, opt-in page over here. You can also add filters based on things like their first contact date. And so this is really helpful if you are, creating an audience based on somebody came in from here and then also starting on this date, and also, based on some interest that they've already provided you. So that's kind of how you layer all the different attributes on to create your specific audience. So here is an example. In this example, the source is new contacts you entered in a certain way from a checkbox, which is like, just like you have a form and then you add a little checkbox to it. Would you like to subscribe to updates to our content in Messenger? So they joined from that source on or after a certain date. And so also excluding another audience, which is people clicked on this other thing. So you can create an audience based on like positives as well as like exclusions, and then that's how you get like a really defined audience for example, in this one, when it's new contacts that get a drip campaign, which kind of demonstrates the power of Messenger. And this is just a great opportunity to, again, say, if you want to get the live blast that we're doing here, we're going to do that at the end of this session. And I also will be talking about, we'll be creating a drip campaign live as well. All right, here we are with what Facebook says, the Art of the Messenger handbook. Facebook's documentation actually says that you should do short messages, and you should separate your longer messages into a few shorter messages. I would just add that caveat, not to be at least like conscientious of putting too many messages that it like blows up somebody's phone. And they also note to add colorful attachments, which is really interesting. And I think that the GIF widget in MobileMonkey is a really fun way to add some like visual fun to your messaging that's like really on brand. Another rule to think about is the one free reply rule. And what this says is that when somebody messages your bot, you can respond, but you can only respond if they've messaged your bot, which is something to think about when you're creating new contacts. So we have this feature in MobileMonkey called the Facebook Post Autoresponder, which is a great way to get new contacts if from your Facebook posts, from your organic content on your wall, or I guess you could promote that content as well. But so somebody, if they leave a comment on a post of yours, you can send an autoresponder that says, hey, would you like to, whatever the offer might be. And in this case, here's an example where would you like to get the answer to this crazy riddle? And so somebody leaves a comment, and then the autoresponder says, would you like to know the answer? The key here is that we're requiring the recipient of this message to type something in, and that is when the messaging connection begins, because they've actually messaged your bot, and then your standard messaging kicks in and you get that 24+1 period to send messaging. And really what I would recommend doing with that is getting them to opt into subscription messaging. The 24+1 rule. This is where the clock resets for promotional messaging if they reply. So, okay, I explained the 24 window and then the one promotional message after that. Every new interaction is a reset of the 24-hour clock. So within that 24 hours, you can invite somebody to opt into your subscription messaging. And this is something that I recommend that everybody do. But, how do you get that opt-in? Make it exclusive. Be excited. This is something that you're excited about and you're passionate about, and other people are too. So if you give them, reason to be excited about it, they're on the inside track. They're going to be a VIP. They're going to get the secrets. They're going to hear it first. That's why somebody might want to opt into your newsletter, essentially, like your messenger newsletter, to get all of the information from you first. Facebook actually says that you should introduce yourself to new contacts. And there's nothing worse than like running into a cucumber randomly, right? Especially if you're a cat. So you want to introduce yourself, let people know that they've kind of created this contact and that you're going to be able to send them messaging. And what you can do is create a drip campaign. And this will mitigate your opt-in confusion because it will send people that welcome. It's that initial handshake to say hello, just like an email marketing. If somebody's signed up for your list, you send that confirmation email to say thanks for signing up and offer some value right out the gate. So send them a confirmation message or a welcome or hello right away with a drip campaign that says new contacts from this source get my like hello and welcome to the club kind of message, and then nobody will be surprised. All right, here we are with another What the Blast. And to give you an example of what a welcome autoresponder looks like, here is what Larry's looks like. It's a really high open rate, so I think it's a great example. It's sent to new contacts to Larry's messenger page or messenger bot and says, hello, thanks for your message. This is a super powerful platform and tool, and it's a great marketing hack because we're talking about open rates that are 5 to 10 times what other channels have, and click-through rates that are up to 20 times other channels. So as a new friend, a new connection, I'd like to show you the power of this yourself. And by the way, at any time, if you don't want to hear any more from me, just type stop. It's important, right? Give people power to get the messaging that they want. Okay, here we are with engagement hacks, which is a really fun time because everybody wants to know how to really be engaging and interactive. And we're going to start right off with What the Blast. This was for a blog post on how to get more messenger contacts. It was sent to subscribers of Larry's messenger bot. And that's a pretty solid open rate response rate. But what I guess I would really point out here is that we're talking about getting the secrets, and that what you include in the CTA button can have a good impact on how people respond to it. So combine your quick questions, which is one of the kinds of widgets that we have. There's like a number of widgets, which is basically how you add content to your chat pages. So the quick question widget is my personal favorite because it is a very low friction way to invite engagement. So remember in the 24+1 rule, if somebody interacts with your bot, then that counts as an engagement. And then the 24-hour clock restarts. A button tap with a quick question is an engagement. There are different kinds of somebody actually has to send a message back to your bot for it to count. Whereas if it was just a text widget with a link, that would not count because they're not, that link tap is passive and it's not sending a message back. So using the quick question widget is a super key tactic here for engagement. And like I said, it's super low friction. Somebody just taps a button and now they've sent you a response, and it saves an attribute to your contact which you can use to create an audience segment, which is like incredibly powerful. Using a CTA like send me the secrets is something that's like very compelling, and you want to kind of get that insider information, get that leg up on your competition. It's also a key element to Facebook ads too, so I would just add that to your thoughts about the quick question widget and a CTA combination. Okay, so here we are with another engagement tip, which is when you're creating your drip campaigns, which are autoresponders based on an audience segment, design them to be really like fast at the beginning and then slow down And think about Fibonacci sequence as a rule of thumb. So this is just like a mathematical equation that means every number that follows is double the number before it. And this emulates the way that we message with our friends, right? It's like you're kind of texting a lot to begin with, like fast back and forth, and then it kind of trails off. So this is a good key to being natural with your messaging, your chatbot, like autoresponders, and also staying within the 24+1 rule. Another key to engagement is watching your language. And by that, I mean, this is a very unique channel. You're not just going to be copying and pasting your email content over to your messaging. You want to talk like you're talking with a friend. You want to be kind of casual in a way, but of course you need to stay on brand for you. But emojis, I would say emojis, like all the emojis, like be creative with it. And I don't know if you text with emojis, but I do. And so that's part of that whole like very conversational feeling. You can look up like what are the top emojis for engagement or click-through rate. Here are some recent data driven examples of emojis that are going to get those clicks and engagement. Okay, I thought I had another slide there, sorry. Okay, so next we're going to move on to actually customizing your content in your chatbot, which is like how do you make a really personal messaging for the people that are going to be receiving. I hear it a lot, like how can you be personal? How can you be like true to your brand with a chatbot? Well, it's just like, you know, anything else that you're sending out in social media and email and other digital channels. Like you can, but even more powerful is the fact that you can actually call people by name, and you know a ton of things about people from the information that Facebook is sending and from the information that they're giving you in your messaging conversations. So let's talk about that a little bit. Using dynamic parameters, you can include the data that you know about people in their contact profiles. Just like an email, you can put in somebody's first name. And if you want to see just how much information that MobileMonkey has about our contacts, and you are a MobileMonkey bot contact, you can type, "Do you know me?" to our bot. I've set that up as a trigger, and I've kind of put in like a bunch of like hidden secrets about like how many conversations we've had, when we first became a contact, if we have it, what your phone number is, like things like that. So that's all possible through the dynamic keyword insertion. And personalization comes in 3 flavors. So the first flavor is Facebook Messenger system attributes. Facebook actually gives MobileMonkey and you a number of attributes about the contacts that you make, including their first name and their last name, their gender, the country they live in and their language, their time zone, and you'll also get a record of when the date and time that a contact was created. Custom variables are those that you set in your chatbot conversation. So we've talked about that a little bit before, like how an attribute is saved via a quick question. And so you are saving all of this information to people's contacts profile, and you can actually add that information into a conversation to make it really personal. So on the right is an example. We're doing a survey here of people to say, like, you know, how are you using Facebook, and what interests you most about Facebook Messenger. If there are a number of response types given as buttons, then we save that attribute. And say in this example, somebody says chat blasting is my thing I'm most interested about messenger marketing. Yay, we love chat blasting too. Thanks for your feedback. Okay, so that's how you can add or use custom variables in your chatbot conversation so that it's a very personal conversation. And then how to add those dynamic attributes is just, you can either type 2 curly brackets and then a menu will show up, and you can pick from all of the attributes that you've ever created and the system attributes. And the other way that you can do it is by clicking the little brackets, and that will kind of come up with that same menu. And then the third flavor of personalizing your messages in Facebook Messenger is by using somebody's phone number or email, basically auto-populated in your quick questions and form buttons. Um, Basically, you can think about this the same way as like a browser populates a web form with responses that somebody's already filled out in other forms. It's going to save people time and effort from filling out that form again. And since we're working with Facebook's platform, um, Facebook already has a phone number and an email for like pretty much all users. So if you want, you can say like, I'm asking for an email as a response type, and it will auto populate that email or phone number in the button so somebody can easily tap what their email or phone number is. In some cases, like in B2B, people don't want to use the same Facebook, same email that they've got hooked up to their Facebook as they do when they want to provide it to you in this form. I like to add the little text, tap it below or type it in, and that will override what the auto-populated button is. So those are all the ways that you can personalize your chatbot messaging to create a very custom and personal experience. And that takes us to this next part here, which is the all-time worst chat blasts. Lessons learned the hard way so that you can learn from them and don't have to make the same mistakes, right? So we'll start with a what the blast. This is an example of a really poor one. The open rate was under 40%. The response rate was 6%, and we'll just say that's pretty poopy. It was sent to MobileMonkey subscribers. It was about a blog post that published on rules for Facebook Messenger marketing based on the GDPR regulations. And let's see. What did we do wrong here? Hey, babe, it's MonkeyBot. GDPR got you wondering? I wrote that, but people didn't like that, and we got a lot of complaints about the bot calling people babe. So noted. As a response, we polled people, polled our subscribers to find out, if babe was an appropriate way to greet people. And it was about 50-50 in terms of favorable versus not favorable. So I guess the takeaway here is that casual is good, but too casual can backfire. So be careful with your 4-letter words. And just, what's interesting is that people really responded to the poll. That's a pretty decent open rate and response rate there with 55% open rate. That's okay. And it was a Friday at like 3 o'clock. And the response rate though was super high, and people wanted to say like, chime in. And I think it's a cool use, surveying people, and also just like letting everybody know, like, got your feedback, interested to know what everybody thinks, and is a great response, and it was, important lesson for me. The other big mistake that you're always going to run into if you make this mistake rather is missing your unsubscribe language. You basically will get a lot of complaints and a high block rate. So Facebook says that you can work to reduce your block rate by doing the following: send messages to a small sample size, and then only send top performers to a larger group. Focus your efforts on people who have recently messaged your page, because they're really engaged, and you can use that audience. You can create an audience based on a time range for that, or last interacted with date. And really, really important is giving people control over the message they receive, which comes back to that, getting that opt-in and including the messaging around how to unsubscribe within every blast. And here we are with data, where to get all the data that's going to tell you how you're doing with your campaigns and what's working. And there's 2 places that you should look. One is right in MobileMonkey. When you create a new chat blast, you'll see that like kind of dashboard view of all of your chat blasts and what their response rate and open rate was. So this is how you're going to be able to benchmark your campaigns to know which of your blasts got the best result. And it's important just as a sanity check to know that list fatigue happens, and a brand new list might get an open rate of 80% and 20% open rate of 80%, 20% response rate. And as people kind of like normalize, you might see something like a 50% open rate and a 10% response rate. And that's what we typically target with our kind of engaged list. The other place to go for data is in Facebook Insights to see what your statistics are for people that are actively messaging your bot, people that are reporting your bot as spam, and people that are blocking your conversations. And you can go to your Facebook Insights and then messages down at the bottom there to get that data. And those are the basic important places to go to make sure that your messaging is, working for you. All right, we've gotten to our sponsored messages bonus move. I said that there were 3 messaging types, and the third one in that list was sponsored messages, which is sending promotional messages and paying Facebook for them. What I would say, I mean, obviously, it's nice to get organic engagement, but there's an important time for sending sponsored messages as well. And there are 2 huge advantages because, first of all, you get that open door to sending a promotional message at any time. So as you can see here, what you do is I'll go back actually. You create a sponsored message from Ads Manager. You use messages as the campaign objective, and just as very similar to your click to messenger ads, but instead of a click to messenger, you use the sponsored messages from the drop down there as the messages destination, and then it will tell you that the audience is people who have an existing conversation with your bot. So this is, again, sending your own contacts promotional messages at any time. And then the other awesome advantage here is that you can use Facebook's audience targeting, all that juicy psychographic, demographic, and custom audiences abilities to create a segment of your contacts. So you don't send necessarily to everybody in your contacts list, because now you can add on those, interests and demographic and behavioral targeting, which is really, really awesome. And just as an example, here, how many people in our audience or how many people in the Facebook audience like cats versus unicorns? Interesting note here. Over 224 million people say that they are interested in cats, and almost 50 million say unicorns. So, we've reached the very exciting time for the live Blastathon. I hope that everybody has signed up if they want to experience what we're doing here all together. I guess that I have to exit out of here and escape. It's going. Okay, there we go. And we'll go into MobileMonkey. All right, here we are. If you're familiar with the platform, this is the bot builder. This is where you create the pages that are going to be sent to your contacts and your audiences. And you create these like groups in order to organize all of the chat page content that you have. I have one for webinars, I have one for sign up pages, and I have one for chat blasts here, which is what we're going to be talking about. So we will be creating a chat blast. All right, let's do it. Create page. We'll name it Live Chat Blast on 9/27 Master Blaster Webinar Demo. How about that? Okay. That was the description field that helps me kind of keep track of like what the purpose of this blast was. We're going to start with a text widget. The widgets are the ways to add content to your chat page. I like to do the double brackets if I want to include an attribute here. So first name. That's you. And then an emoji. It's a little delay. Okay, another emoji. I know that I was mentioning emojis as an important engagement tactic. In fact, oh, I see a number of questions coming up. Okay, gonna have to get those. Okay, and as a funny joke, Larry and I were talking about our growth strategy for the next quarter, and 30% more emojis is one of the keys there. So. Ready for this? Ready for this jelly? I don't think there's a jelly emoji. And the other way to add emojis is using this selector here, but I'm using a Mac, which just, I don't know, I'm used to it. Are you using enough emojis in your chat blasts? And let's not forget that we can remind people that they have the power to unsubscribe and control their messaging. Is that a period or is that just my screen? Okay. All right, so that's the first thing. We've added a text widget, and the next thing we're going to do is ask a question, because why not? Who wins the internet? I want to know. What do you think? Is it going to be cats or unicorns? Like all-time most epic animal of the internet. If you're creating a new attribute, you would click new attribute there. I actually wanted to test this out, so I created the cats versus unicorns attribute already, and so that's why I'm just picking it from the drop down there. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the answers. These are the buttons that are going to show up in Messenger. And you can add little images for, I thought I had created, sorry, I created a little folder here, so it'll be easy. Did I say cats first? How about cats? Cats. And when you create buttons, or even text links as well, like if this was a button, then you can create an associated page, like what will be the response if somebody hits cats here. And I already created these, so these are going to be a little secret depending on which one that you pick. So. And you can just start typing if you know what the page name is, and then it will narrow down all the pages based on, it's like a search basically. Here you go. And then the one other thing that I wanted to demonstrate after this little red box goes away, because it will say, oh yes, you've done all of the things. It's not empty. I wanted to add a Q&A so that people can, if you wanted to re-answer the question, what you just do is type master blaster to the bot. Okay, I'm having a problem with this. So I'm going to delete it and see if it, there we go. All right. Pretty much getting ready. All right, our blast content is ready, and we could test it out actually. Let's do it. See what it looks like. Name. Yay. Drum roll. Psst. You can unsubscribe. Big question. Who wins the internet? Answer here. Hopefully a little kitty comes back. Okay, so I'll say that worked. Next thing we're going to do is create our audience. Go to audiences. Going to create an audience. And yes, 927. Okay. And we add a filter. We're going to filter based on the attribute of Chat Blast volunteers and equals to Blast Me Live. Save. This actually includes people who probably signed up during the summit session on Thursday, so they're going to get a surprise blast right now. I guess I could add a filter based on date, but like everybody probably wants to experience this, right? Okay, we'll just go with it. All right, we've created our audience. Now we're going to go to the Chat Blaster and create a new Chat Blast. Because people have opted in, they've signed up, so this is not promotional. And we're gonna, from the drop-down menu, pick our page. We called this page Live Blast on 927. Live Chat Blast on 927. Okay. In MobileMonkey Pro, if you get the advanced automation features, you're able to schedule this to send later, which I think is really, really important if you're planning on doing a lot of these, because this way that you can, when you do send later, you can schedule based on the recipient's time zone. And that means if you have an international audience, say, or people who have signed up in Australia, like I have one subscriber signed up in Australia who, before we got this feature, would lovingly tell me what time of night, what awful time of night I had sent him the chat blast. It was like, oh, it wasn't 3 o'clock this morning, it was 5 o'clock this morning. So that's somewhat more reasonable. So I was very excited to be able to get this. But we're going to go ahead and send this immediately since everybody is just like, you know, I'm sure on the edge of our seats. Send. And now we're going to create a drip campaign. So I wanted to show you that. I pre-created the pages that we'll do for this, but it's going to be the same audience that's already selected. We're going to go with non-promotional here from subscription because everybody's signed up for this. We'll say this is the 927 chat blast, or actually master blaster, because this will work for anybody who enters this audience at any time. Doesn't matter if they signed up today or later. Master blaster webinar drip campaign. We're going to add just these 3 messages that I created. I'm going to start the first one in 5 minutes. And it'll be drip 1. Live Chatbot Summit drip 1. And then how about after that, we'll wait another 3 minutes. Well, the Fibonacci sequence says that you like go a little bit further every time, but I'm just gonna say 8 minutes. Oops, and then drip 2. This is so easy, see? And then the last one is drip 3. Live Chatbot Summit drip 3. Oops, look, I did the wrong one though. And then we'll do this 10 minutes later. Looks good. Live chatbot summit 1, summit drip 2, summit drip 3, 5, 8, then 10 minutes. I'm going to save. And right now it's still a draft. So we'll go in and turn it active. Save. Send. Like save and send. I don't know. Anyway. We did it. We've done the live blast. Responses are rolling in. We can go ahead and take a look at our results actually. The live blast, 23% read rate because we had about 100 people on the list and about 23 people have opened it. Response rate, I'm getting solid responses here. And then, yeah, that's phenomenal. Thank you all for answering the questions. One other thing about the chat blaster you should know, I'll just give a quick mention, is that there's an RSS blaster. So if you want to set up an automation where new like blog posts go out to people who subscribe, that is just like totally like seamless way. Like you don't even have to worry about like creating the content, and it looks really great. It pulls the image from your blog post and it has like the headline, and it requires that people do like an engagement, which is to click to read more so that you get that 24+1 reset. Okay, let's see. Questions. I want to start with promotional versus non-promotional because I've gotten a lot of questions even before the webinar started. There was that example that we used in an, that I included in an email that was like, I've got a restaurant and I want to send a newsletter to people, and I want to tell them like when we update our menu or when we update the menu, when we've got like, news to share. This really cool example from somebody who wrote in was that there's like a strawberry, like a strawberry bug like going on, like it's like ruining the crops or something. And so strawberry farmers are really hurting right now, and this restaurant is going to be, oh no, it was needles. Somebody's sabotaging the strawberries with needles. Isn't that crazy? So strawberry farmers are really hurting right now because the government is making people wipe out their strawberry crops. But this restaurant is supporting strawberry farmers by making a special strawberry cocktail. And so, if they want people to know about this so that people can support strawberry farmers by going to the restaurant and enjoying that cocktail. This is a classic example of somebody that wants to get that information from your restaurant so that they subscribe to your updates. And so I don't think there's any problem there. I mean, there's just not. By definition, get people to subscribe, do that opt-in page, and then, they're going to be like a VIP. They're going to get the first news. They'll, if you have people who are regulars at your restaurant and just like want to know like if menu changes for seasonal stuff and like back to school hours are changing or anything like that, that's just definitely in the non-promotional subscription realm. There was also a question about 24+1 and if somebody has a new contact and they want to set up a drip response for 6 days later that offers a coupon, will that be considered promotional, or like how will Facebook respond to that? And yes, that is a promotional blast that you can send 6 days after, which is totally fine within the 24+1 rule because that's that +1 that you get. But the thing is, it would be a lot smarter to send a non-promotional message out in that +1 so that you can get a re-engagement and then send, any kind of offers that you want in the 24-hour period. So, do you like cookies, or do you like to save money, or what are you interested in based on what your business is? Maybe it's like custom suits or something. Like, what's your biggest issue when it comes to like buying a suit? Just like a non-promotional engagement will allow you to reset the 24-hour clock, and then in that 24 hours, you can send all the promotional and non-promotional information to your contacts that you want. So that's what I'd be recommending there. I know that we're past our hour. I have a couple other questions here for people who want to stick around. We can just do a couple more. Can you show us how you created that awesome survey? Awesome. Okay, I did that. We can go into the page here. I think that you're probably talking about was this a useful session? And I had, okay, chat blasts. This was part of the answer, okay? So after you said who wins the internet, if it was a cat or a unicorn, I said, a little response. And then also, by the way, how useful was this webinar? I'm using the quick question. This is like literally my favorite widget. It's so handy because, now I'm going to be able to go back into all my contacts and I'm going to export the data based on people who answered this question. I know that this anyway, and I'll be able to find how useful this was. So it's just answers basically 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they're buttons, and then you tap on it. So that's how you create a survey. Okay, another question about the timing of the blasts. I can't find it now as my screen keeps scrolling, but it was something like you sent a bunch of messages within a very short time frame in your drip campaign. Wouldn't that be considered flagged as spam? And no, it won't be flagged as spam. Especially it has the non-promotional subscription messaging. There was nothing promotional in the, I guess that's not true. There was the all access pass. If you want to get recordings like this and more amazing content about chatbots, then you want to get the all access pass to the summit, which was last week. And I'll just share this screen really quick so that you can see. Share. Here we go. PowerPoint. Share. I want you to be able to get this. You'll get this session as a replay, but you'll also get sessions from Mari Smith, Isaac Radonsky, Samir El-Kamouni, Larry Kim, and Dan Golder, and Dennis Yu, who have amazing insights and strategies around sending chatbot content, building your list, and being personal with your bot, and also incredible stuff about ads and how Facebook Messenger ads are outperforming like any other ad platform there is. So that is kind of an important bit to pass along here. Get all that content. The All Access Pass, I'm going to be uploading this session to the members area so that people can view it, and it should be in the next day. So shouldn't have to wait too long about that. But I guess it's time to close out this session. There's a lot more questions, and it's going to be great information for me to kind of like read through and see where your questions are so that you can do more blog posts and guides and tutorials about all the questions that you have around this. It is really, really new technology. So all the questions abound about best practices and how to kind of stay in Messenger rules so you don't get slapped on the wrist and also get that top tier engagement. Important to note, like this is new, which means you get the first mover advantage. And Larry built his whole career on being first to a channel before it blew up because, Facebook ads costs go up. And I mean, look at the cost of search ads over the years. Can you become a Twitter influencer today? Yeah, you kind of missed the boat on that. But Facebook Messenger is brand new, and this is the time to start building your audience and getting your influence. And, imagine if I had given a Space Cats presentation 15 years ago, I'd probably be selling, I can have a cheeseburger network for like $30 million. So first mover advantage is huge. You can actually forge new frontiers with Facebook Messenger marketing. And I would love to get all your questions. And I'm really thank you all for coming. And we will catch you online. Bye, everybody.